Read the book of John, chapter 12, verse 3 to 8. Then Mary took a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Verse 4. Then said one of the disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him. Verse 5. Why was this anointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? Question mark. Verse 6. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and he had the bag and bare what was put therein. 7. Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against this day of my burying has she kept this. 8. Jesus replied, for the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always. It's a funny question, because I've always wondered what this verse mean, and Judas being a thief, being the person who people trusted the most, but he was a thief. He had the money bag. And I was wondering this term about being a thief, because we think about being a thief, someone who breaks into your house, someone who looks into your wallet and takes out, someone who checks if you have any change, whatever, write false checks and all that. But he tried to justify himself by saying, well, this woman did a nice action. She worshiped God. She loved God with all her heart. And Judas saw that this thing that she possessed could have been sold and given to him while he had all the money. What does it mean that he was a thief? Here it is. When we come to see in the ministry, or in anything, a thief doesn't necessarily mean a person who looks and breaks into your car, into your wallet. I said that already. But this thief is a person who has a lot, but feels that he doesn't have enough. This is a person who would take advantage of another person. This is a person who would boost up a price, charge more. If something's worth 2, he'll probably charge 6, trying to make that extra. In other words, this term thief really represented greed. He was greedy, and a greedy person will never be satisfied. A greedy person will never feel that he has enough. Now here it goes in deeper. This term thief, and I want to share this with you, his motivation. He was money driven, motivated. In other words, his ministry, the way he thought the ministry was, it was a way of making an income. I gotta ask for more money because I gotta supply my needs. And so he looked at this ministry as a foundation of making an income, and ministry is not based upon making an income. Ministry is based upon living. So God saw that Mary worshiped. That's what God looked. And when I look at this, when I was meditating on this more, John chapter 12, I see that when this thing talks about him being a thief because he had the money bag, and his motivation was like, hey, put it in the bag. It's more for me, right? Because people, when they're really motivated by money, they think about themselves. They never think about anything else. They think about how much can I get out of this, And I believe that a thief is also a person who will rob you from an opportunity of becoming better. In other words, they will take advantage of you. They will keep you low. They will rob you from becoming better. They will rob you from your dreams. They will rob you for your hope. They would oppress you, by making you feel guilty, in the workplace, that you're doing good, and they'll kind of get jealous, and they'll try to give you more work and not pay you for it. Try to suck up all your juice and making them rich. I think God also has that. So Jesus replied was, let the woman alone. She did this for me. Okay. He said, the poor you will always have in your heart. See, this is the truth. A person who's a thief doesn't necessarily mean it's the one who goes into your pocket, but it's the one who's never rich, who's greedy motivated, who went into the ministry to see how much money he can make, how much offerings he can get, to see who can he get advantage of. He'll do a job and he'll overcharge. He won't be honest in his dealings. He'll, So God told them, listen, you will always have your poor in your heart. Okay, you will always find the reason why you're not rich. You will always find the reason why you're back. But the true sense of worshiping and following God is what you did for him. And God sees that. And God blesses that. What was the final result of Judas? He hanged himself. He killed himself because his greed drove him to do something that was unthinkable, betraying the master. Sad. Greed will drive you to do crazy, crazy things. But that's just a little thinking why. I always thought, why was a thief holding the money bag, right? So that's the real sense of, or the real idea of what the Bible talks about Judas being a thief. Well, God bless you. My name is Brother Sam. Amen.